We are joined now by the great Dan Rubenstein, pioneer of college football podcasting from the Solid Verbal Podcast. Hi, Dan.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
It's great. Now, Dan, I've always felt like you missed your calling. You should have been a game show host.
Yeah.
And you have brought me on board for multiple game shows throughout the years on your show.
Yes.
Most recently, Sark Tank, which was brilliant. You and Ty Hildebrand did a tremendous job producing that episode.
Thank you. First of all, it's not too late. I just turned 40, so I have time. You've seen the 10 years of like Pat Sajak hosting Wheel of Fortune for however 40 years or something. So I have time. The other thing is, I don't know if people, I mean, I've mentioned this numerous times, but I will be the only game show contestant, the only college football game show contestant with actual multi-time game show contestant, real game show contestant experience.
Well, you know, I also have game show contestant experience.
Yeah, I mean, you were a singled out champion, were you not?
I was on MTV in the era when Singled Out was on, but I was on Idiot Savants, short-lived MTV game show. There were 3 contestants, and I finished 3rd.
So was this
didn't go well?
Who hosted this? This is not Jon Stewart.
I cannot remember who hosted Idiot Savants. I have to go look at that. But it was Panama City Beach in 1997 is when we filmed it. There was a tryout. They did tryouts on various campuses within driving distance of Panama City. And so I came through the UF heat, the UF tryout, and wound up on Idiot Savants and was doing well. I was actually in the lead. And then they had this segment or a category where they had a model in a skin tight kind of human anatomy outfit.
Yeah.
And she would point somewhere and you had to explain where she was pointing. And
I had something very similar on my game show, weirdly enough. Yeah. It was
which game show?
Cutout. It was Pick Your Brain. It was my face in a cardboard cutout. Or excuse me, it was my mom's face in a cardboard cutout. She stood behind it. And I would be told a body part and I had to like put a Velcro thyroid or whatever where it is on the body. I did pretty good, not great.
Well, funny you mentioned thyroid. My downfall, where it all started going downhill for me, was saying pituitary when I meant thyroid.
Oh, and yeah. I kept putting the thyroid on the thigh. But I was 9 years old.
Oh, well, see, I was 18. I had no excuses. I also misheard the Beck lyric, bottles and cans, and just clap your hands, and just clap your hands. Got that wrong from where it's at. So not the greatest game show experience for me, but I also had a lot of friends who helped me prep because growing up, middle school, high school in Orlando, there were so many classmates who had been on some version of Double Dare.
Yes. People don't understand. I mean, I think it's the Orlando area is the same way. If you grow up in Los Angeles as well, I got game show audition flyers in my school cubby, right? They need to fill these spots. So a bunch of my friends and I would go on game shows. And the one I just mentioned, I think I won a $5,000 savings bond when I was 9 or 10 years old. So yeah, that's just how it operates.
It was quite an economy, but I'm disappointed. I should have won that game. It's been eating at me for a long time. And that's why I've created this game show. We are both host and contestant in this game show because I figure that you're the better game show host of the two of us, but I do want to break into this industry if I can. And I would like to also show off and see if I can beat you. I'm not sure I can in this game, but I think this is one that everybody's going to get something out of.
Okay.
And we're probably going to play it annually. We'll probably play, and we may play it a couple more times before the season starts. But this game is called Whose Team Is It Anyway? And it is in honor of the transfer portal. You and I were talking before we started recording about just not even realizing where some guys were until about 4 days ago. The season starts in a couple of weeks. We need to know where everybody's playing. So what we're going to do is I'll name a player and you must name. Here's the catch. If they've gone to multiple schools, you got to name them all.
Oh, God. Okay.
So, but you've got to name where they were and where they are. And you're going to do the same for me. If we're each going to do 5 players. I've got a longer list in case we've got to go to a tiebreaker round or
It's
anything
only
like
active players, right? Like I'm not going to need to remember where Sam McGuffey ended
This is
up.
people who moved this offseason and Sam
Okay.
McGuffey, in case you're scoring at home, that would be Michigan to Rice.
Right.
So there you go. But the game is whose team is it anyway?
Okay.
Get ready, Dan. We're about to play. Maybe you're a former 5-star who couldn't find the field at your first school. Or maybe you blew up in the FCS or Division II and want to take your talents to the Power 5. Or maybe you just got a sweet NIL deal and always wanted to drive a G-Wagon. No matter the reason, you fell into the transfer portal and now you're somewhere else. We have to remember where you're playing, and you know what that means? It's time for another game of Whose Team Is It Anyway? Okay, so here we go. Whose team is it anyway? 5 rounds. Okay. I'll name a player. You name where they were before and where they are now. These are all people who transferred this offseason. Okay. So I'm going to start you with an easy / tricky one.
Oh, this is just setting me up for failure. My disclaimer is I will pre-tell everybody I'm an idiot. And so if I get something right, it goes against it. So okay, let's go.
We're going to get them wrong here. This is the thing. We're explaining how hard this is to keep up with. Mm-hmm. And if you're a casual fan just coming in going, okay, I'm ready. Let's get me ready for college football season. A lot of this is going to be news to you. So here we go. You ready, Dan?
Yes.
Quarterback JT Daniels.
Okay. That was a nice soft takeoff. Mm-hmm.
But name the schools.
All of them.
All of them.
Full path. JT Daniels started his career. He enrolled early at USC, then Georgia, then West Virginia, and has now touched down at the now aforementioned Rice University Owls.
That's correct.
Boom.
1 point for Dan Rubenstein. And now the pressure is on me. Dan, who's your first player?
Okay. My first player to you. Ooh, there's a lot of good ones here. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think this is, well, I think that I was thinking of a medium one. I'm gonna give you a soft takeoff as well. Let's go with Dante Cephas.
Dante Cephas.
I like how you're saying it like a spelling bee.
Kent State to Penn State.
Correct. Absolutely correct. And by the way, you can, any of the MAC schools are a really nice first guess. Because a lot of guys leave MAC schools in the offseason. Yeah.
All right, let us move. I'm going to give you another easy one.
Okay.
Before I really start trying to stump you. This guy you should be fairly familiar with.
Okay.
Linebacker Justin Flo.
Justin Flo. From the University of Oregon to, with his brother, the University of Arizona.
That is correct. Former 5-star Justin Flo, recruited by everybody in the country. Injuries derailed his career at Oregon, but he's now with Jed Fish at Arizona. And this is one of those, Dan, I don't know how you feel about this, but the guys who were mega recruits and then it doesn't work out somewhere, there's always that hope that they're just going to blow up at the next place.
Yes. No, there's always that hope because it's just you talk yourself into a fresh start. You talk yourself into, well, they were sort of misused. They were in the wrong position at this school, or like it was just off because the depth chart was wrong or the position coach who recruited him left. And he needs that right place. And in some cases, totally true. In some cases, Justin Flo could not really cover tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. Yeah.
Right. And so we will see if that's a case of he just misevaluated or in the wrong scheme or injuries derailed it. We'll find out. All right, Dan, what is your next player?
All right. I'm going to stick thematically because receiver is one of the more fun plug-and-play positions in the portal that, you know, if you can beat corners one place, you can probably beat a bunch of corners in another place, and everybody's going wide open. Their offenses, everybody needs receivers. A.D. Mitchell.
A.D. Mitchell, last seen catching a touchdown pass, and I believe he caught one he definitely caught one against Alabama in the national championship game. I believe he caught one against TCU, but he is headed to the University of Texas.
Correct.
And he will be a target of Quinn Ewers. And that was a case where, I think people thought, well, what's going on here? But Georgia also, and I don't know if these are your guys either, but Dominic Lovett from Missouri, who was probably Missouri's best receiver last year, went to Georgia, and then Ra Thomas, who was Mississippi State's best receiver last year, went to Georgia. So for AD Mitchell, it was a kind of a fight for getting some balls thrown to him.
That's true. And Texas has a bunch of good receivers.
Yeah,
but
Xavier Worthy, Jatavian Sanders, a tight end.
And Isaiah Nair is the one.
Yes, a Wyoming transfer from last year.
Yeah, he tore his ACL, so he should be healthy this year, I believe, at the time of recording. So there really is no excuse for Quinn Ewers with a great offensive line in front of him, what should be good running backs and a bunch of good receivers. Are you ready for my next item?
It's my turn to give.
Oh, sorry. I did AD Mitchell. Yeah. Please.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. This is one of my favorite ones, and I realize we've gone mostly skill guys here, but that's okay. This is one. Those of you who like to watch football on the weekdays, who like to maybe put a little action on the games, you'll know this guy. But do you know where he wound up? Running back Carson Steele.
Again, you're very good just looking at the MAC as the starting point here. Okay, I believe this is Ball State to UCLA.
Yes, that is correct.
I sometimes get Ball State and Miami of Ohio. Apologies to both of those schools because I think they're both red and black. I guess
and birds
as
their mascots. Yes, they are bird teams. Carson Steele has a pet alligator. I find that amazing. And now he's from Indiana. He's from suburban Indianapolis. I think the pet alligator is back at home, but he does have one. And I'd love to see where you put that in the. He's probably not in the dorms at UCLA. He's probably in some apartment.
Drive an alligator cross country from suburban Indiana to Westwood.
I think he stays at home. Crocky J is the alligator's name.
Crocky J, which is it an alligator or is it a crocodile? Do you name an alligator?
Well, I mean, he's a crocodilian. I mean, that's
right. The other thing,
the family crocodile.
That's true.
So
the other thing confusing about Carson Steele is UCLA also has a transfer named Colin Schlee
from Kent State.
The MAC. Yes. Like it's very confusing for when you are a slow person like myself. So
well, Carson Steele was a battering ram at Ball State, but is faster than people realize, and so I'm interested because he could play kind of the Zach Charbonnet role for UCLA this year, and I think that could be a lot of fun. All right, so 3 for 3 for you. I have to keep pace.
That's true. I'm going to make this slightly more difficult.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to stay with a bigger school theme because you start dipping into like deep conference USA.
Yeah, if you're going group of 5 to group of 5, or you're hurting it.
Yeah. That's just tough. It is just tough because it doesn't always make the headlines. But I'm going to go with a larger human, Power 5 to Power 5.
Okay.
Ladarius Henderson.
Ladarius Henderson had to start as a 17-year-old at Arizona State against grown-ass men from Utah and Oregon and you name it. He will now be a wily, savvy veteran on the offensive line at Michigan.
This is true. Perhaps the deepest and best offensive line in the country. Multiple-time Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line. The only thing that is confusing to me and relatable to me is leaving a warm West Coast place for the Midwest is not a move you see a lot.
Yeah.
But I myself, growing up in Southern California, now living in the Chicago suburbs. Ladarius, if you want to come over.
It's not uncommon. And Ladarius is from the Dallas area originally. So
true.
Yeah. This is it was one of those moves because I feel like Michigan has done a great job identifying offensive linemen in the transfer portal when they need to do a plug-and-play situation. Olu Oluwatimi coming from Virginia last year was a great addition to their team, and it sounds like he's doing great, and I believe he's with the Seahawks right now. That was a big pickup for them and exactly what they needed, so maybe Ladarius is that guy for them this year. Holy cow, we're both 3 for 3. Somebody's got to miss
good.
a question here. All right, here's one. I don't think this guy is much of a household name now, but I think as the season goes on and the draft buzz starts to build, I think we're going to learn a little bit more about him.
Okay.
Edge rusher Steve Linton.
Edge rusher Steve Linton. I don't think I have this.
This is a tough one. This is a tough one. So, Steve Linton.
You can see my hands. I'm not Googling. I'm not doing anything.
No Googling. So I will give you some time.
Yeah.
Let the music play.
I'm in the surrender cobra pose right now as I try to scroll through random tweets and headlines in my head.
I'll give you a hint. Power 5 to Power 5.
Steve Linton sounds like the bass player for Pearl Jam.
Yes.
I'm going to say Power 5 to Power 5. Maryland to Florida State.
No. Steve Linton has gone from Syracuse to Texas Tech. And so Texas Tech looking for somebody on the edge to replace Tyree Wilson. And this is a guy, if you listen to like Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl, Steve Linton is somebody that we are going to be talking a lot about when the season starts because he can come screaming off the edge. The way they want to use him in Texas Tech's defense might showcase his skill set a little bit better. And so this is one that could be a lot of fun. Keep your eye on him. All right. So let's see if I can take the lead here because we were tied before this round began. So can I take the lead?
All right. I'm going to protect my competitive nature here and go a little bit trickier, but it does involve a Power 5 school. A Johnny Cornelius.
Oh,
a Johnny. I believe it's AJANI.
Oh no, I am completely blanking on this.
Johnny Cornelius. Are you giving up?
I'm not giving up yet.
Okay.
I'll take one hint like I gave you on the last one.
So what was the hint that you gave me?
I gave you Power 5 to Power 5.
This is FCS to
Power
Power 5. It's jumping over the group of 5.
Yes. Oh man. Okay.
Well, and I think you said edge rusher too. I'll give you a position. You gave.
Oh yeah. I have to give a position. Yes.
Yes. Offensive tackle.
Oh, that's right. He's the offensive tackle. He is Rhode Island to. Where did he go?
You got the hard part.
Yes. Rhode Island to. Oh, where did he wind up? Oh no.
I'll even give
Nebraska?
I'll give you a sub clue. I'll give you another clue.
Okay.
Offensive lineman, Power 5, and the offensive line coach who recruited him subsequently left shortly thereafter.
Notre Dame?
Oregon Ducks.
Oh, Adrian left to the NFL. You're right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Man, that was tough.
It's a tough one. That is probably the deepest down I will reach.
So I will give you a hint before I give you your final name. We are now tied again.
Stump each other. Yeah.
Because this is a similar situation.
Oh no. Okay.
But not FCS.
Okay.
To Power 5. It is Division 2 to Power 5.
Oh.
This would be the Austin Reed move. Actually, Austin Reed was Division 2 to Group of 5 last year. So this is tight end Kyle Morlock.
Tight end Kyle Morlock. Okay, I've seen this name, and because he was Division 2, I don't remember the name of the Division 2 program. I just remember seeing him. I will give you a hint. He went to a Power 5 school that has become well known for taking people out of the transfer portal and making them stars. Taking people out of the transfer portal, making them stars. It's an educated. Is it Ole Miss?
It is not Ole Miss.
Ah!
I will give you one more guess as to the Power 5 school, but I don't think you'll get the Division 2 school. So,
I remember the Division 2 school being a school I had never even, that wasn't even the vicinity.
You've probably never heard of. Most of our viewers / listeners have probably never heard of this place.
Right. What is Arkansas?
No.
Ah.
It is. And now, interestingly enough, the D2 school he comes from is in Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
Shorter College.
Shorter College. Yep.
Is the school he played for.
Nothing.
Kyle Morlock is now at Florida State.
Ah.
Now, the bigger headline tight end transferring to Florida State was Jaheim Bell transferring from South Carolina. But they like Kyle Morlock. They think he can do some stuff for him this year. And so, yeah, Florida State, which Jared Verse was the guy last year from Albany, the edge rusher. He's back this year. Jermaine Johnson came from Georgia and became the ACC Player of the Year in a first-round pick a couple of years ago. So the Seminoles, great in the portal, great at IDing, and then figuring out how they work within their own system.
Well, it's what? Johnny Wilson, Trey Benson, Fentrell Cypress this year at corner from Virginia. I actually thought about I wanted to avoid Florida schools with you because it's too close.
It's hard with Florida State because there's so many transfers. It's hard to keep track of. But true. Yeah, they have quite a few. But man, is it that one? That's the one. If it blows up, just crown Mike Norvell king of the portal. If
he doesn't get the credit that Lane gets, like there is something portal king-ish about Mike Norvell that I don't know if he necessarily is as well known as he should be for the success he's had there.
All right. If I get this one, I win. Otherwise, we got to go to a tiebreaker.
Okay. I want to go somewhere interesting with this, difficult with this. All right. This next player's first name, which I'm going to tell you, or his full name, sounds like he was a baseball manager in 1994.
Okay.
Ray Davis. Did Ray Davis coach the Reds? Who's to say?
What position does Ray Davis play?
Ray Davis is a running back.
This sounds like that movie, The Replacement, the pseudonym they made for the guy they got out of prison.
Yes.
I think his name was like Chuck Smith or like Ray Smith or something like that. So Ray Davis.
Ray Davis was the third base coach for the Pirates in their heyday. Yeah.
He's a running back?
A running back, Ray Davis. And this is Power 5 to Power 5.
Ray Davis. I gotta say, I am completely stumped.
Completely blank. And not only, I'll give you the conference.
Okay.
It's the Southeastern Conference, the SEC.
Within.
Means more. Within. School to school.
Oh, so he went early. Okay. Man. I'm going to say Arkansas to Mississippi State.
Not a bad guess, but neither of those schools is correct.
Oh, no.
I believe Ray Davis was Vanderbilt's leading rusher last year.
That's right.
He's transferring into Kentucky, who loses Kvassier Smoke.
Kvassier Smoke.
Yes. Chris.
Chris Rodriguez in the draft.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they lose both of those running backs last year, but Kvassier Smoke to the portal and Chris to the.
So we gotta go to a tiebreaker round, Dan.
Okay.
I had a feeling this might happen.
I'm gonna Power 5 to Power 5. I thought you were gonna nail it.
Okay, so let's make it where these have to be Power 5 to Power 5.
Okay, fair.
Because we do want this game to end at some point. Correct. So, all right, I will give you one. Let's see. Offensive tackle.
Oh no.
Michael Tarquin.
Oh, hold on. I can actually see his face. I know the name. I'm totally blanking. Michael Tarquin from.
There is a familial connection by marriage to the new school.
Oh, I was going to say from you.
No.
Michael Tarquin, familiar marriage. Minnesota to Tennessee.
He went from Florida to USC. He was Florida's starting left tackle. He will be USC's starting left tackle. His wife is the daughter of former USC star Tony Baselli, who was a great Jacksonville Jaguar. Yeah. And that's how, so they met in Florida, but he's going to his father-in-law's alma mater, I believe, wearing his father-in-law's number.
Wow.
At USC. So that's a fun. All right. If I can get this one, I win. Who you got?
I just like this name a lot, and I've read it for the past 3 years in both good and bad context. Dwight McGlothern.
Okay. He's a multi-transfer guy, right?
Believe so.
LSU to Arkansas. Am I right?
Yes.
So okay. And where is he now?
Oh, it was last year. Let's scratch that.
It was last. I got it right. He did what
you did. Get
I was like, he left Arkansas. Isn't he still playing in Arkansas?
I actually couldn't get it. Before you did yours, I was gonna do Dorian Singer, but you had a USC arrival, so I scratched that one. Okay.
Arizona to USC. I can get that one.
Okay. Austin Stogner.
Austin Stogner. So that would be Oklahoma to South Carolina back to Oklahoma.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Yes. All right. Yes, Austin Stogner, the person who incepted the idea of South Carolina trying to get Spencer Rattler as a transfer, then went over, and now he's going to finish his career where it started in Norman. That's very impressive, Dan. That was a tough one.
It was almost like he was the vehicle that brings the plane to the runway and then goes back to retreat. Like he was the vehicle for Spencer Rattler.
Or the plane that used to piggyback, the space shuttle used to piggyback on when it came back from California.
Yes, correct.
That is wow. That was a lot of fun.
That was great. You can't even study for this. Like you really can't. No. It's like studying for the SATs. Like it's great that you looked up every word, but you got to be able to perform.
Well, that one, like when you said Austin Stogner, and even when you know it, there's this inkling in the back of your head that you're wrong. I was like, oh, that's the tight end from Oklahoma to South Carolina, and then he went back, and I'm like, but what if I'm complete? What if this guy played at Oklahoma State and now he's going to Utah? Like, how am I going to miss this?
Who are and Stogner was the first one I thought of. I was trying to think of the returning transfers, guys who left and came back. There haven't been a lot, but there have been some. I feel like
I was going to give you not a returning transfer, but another multi-school guy.
Okay,
I was going to throw Keaton Slovis at you. I figure that's a fairly easy one.
That's tough, but yeah, he ended up at BYU via Pitt and USC.
That's correct. Yeah.
I guess Liam Cohen would technically count. New old offensive coordinator.
Transferred to the LA Rams and transferred back.
Correct. There's Jeff Tedford who left and came back. You have a lot of the coaches doing that they rehire this guy because they're trying to recapture magic. But yeah, you don't see it as much with players. Stetson Bennett technically counts.
Yes.
He transferring away to JUCO and came back to Georgia. But yeah, this is, you know what? I was thinking about this, and I don't know if there's more to this game. But I was thinking about the game, and it's the portal and following players and following coaches and following schools and conferences. It makes college football kind of impossible to be a fan of in a casual way. Like you really have to dive in if you want to understand the sport.
Well, I you know where I stole this from is all the NFL shows, because they've done this for years where they come back, because you have the diehards that are following this stuff religiously all season and all off season, but most people have jobs. They got stuff to do.
Yes.
And so they'll come back when training camp begins and be like, oh, that guy's there and that guy's there. And so your Good Morning Footballs and your shows like that will give you a new face, new place feature to kind of highlight who's new and what they can do in the new team. But with college football, there's so much movement.
Yes.
But and I was thinking about, we barely even scratched the surface. Like I had Trayshawn Ward on my list. Trayshawn Ward, Florida State fans know who that is. ACC people know who that is.
Kansas State?
He's going to Kansas State behind an offensive line that has Cooper Beebe, who might be the best interior lineman in the country, and 3 other 6th-year seniors who have been multi-year starters on that offense. Like Trayshawn Ward is going to run for a ton of yards this year.
Yeah.
So,
no, there are those opportunities that seem like perfect fits, but the idea, especially when you talk about the NFL or the NBA, at least hypothetically, those guys have been around 6, 7, 8, 9 years.
Right.
Like, oh, this like cagey veteran is now with the Ravens or something. But with college, you're skipping around so much. I've followed the NFL casually and as a diehard, not as a diehard anymore, for the entirety of my life where I could watch and take in football. I still don't know what dead money is. right? There's the NFL equivalent of like red shirting and gray shirting and blue shirting and like suspension.
Dead money is the player's not on your team anymore, but he still counts toward your cap.
Right. Yeah, that's what my brain sort of figured out. But like, I still don't understand. Like, but he's making this much, but his cap hit is this, right? That there's the details of being an NFL fan that are just different.
Well, get ready. College football may be headed that way too.
I know.
So.
Yes, I do. But I was thinking about this with how difficult it can be to be a sports fan, and trying to explain things to my wife who's into college football. She went to Michigan, but she will sometimes listen to, when she's bored, a like celebrity gossip podcast where they're outlining why this person has tension with this person because it goes back to this thing when they were both on this show. And I realized college football is just Bravo for sports dorks. Like, it's all the same thing.
Right.
Exactly right. All these details that, unless you are following along with like, oh, Deshaun Jackson just went to Cal because everybody thought he was going to go to USC. Like, cool. That there's so many tiny details, and there is connective tissue to both what I am saying to your game.
Yes.
Do you have a clue what that connective tissue between Bravo and college football might be?
The host named Andy.
There's a host named Andy. Yes, that's good. That's my ding. But also, I want to say the DB's coach of Utah.
Yes.
As a Real Housewife husband.
Yes.
Who this is just me overhearing. I think his wife might now be incarcerated for something.
Might be. She was. There was an issue.
And he just was able to secure one of the more coveted cornerbacks in the transfer portal. Miles Battle from Ole Miss is now
Sharif Shah is the coach you're talking about.
Sharif Shah is the coach.
Jen Shah is the Real Housewife in question.
Yes, and Miles Battle, I want to say, is the cornerback's name, who was especially good 2 years ago. I don't know what kind of year he had last year, but he is going to be stepping in for Clark Phillips, I think, was the corner who was terrific for the Utes.
Unfortunately, just got hurt in training camp and is out for his rookie season. So, but yeah, so yes, it is all interconnected.
It's all connected.
What a game, Dan! I feel like we need to bring on some other friend, like my friend Max Olson over at the Athletic. We call him the transfer or the portal authority. I feel like he could get almost all of these. Like, I'd have to go to the real hard stuff. Like I'd have to throw like Andrew Armstrong at him. That's the Texas A&M Commerce to Arkansas wide receiver transfer. So, Max would be like, oh, what you guys did was too easy.
Do you think he would have gone, 12 for 12 or whatever?
Yes, I do. And so I think I would have to do, how regular Jeopardy, you can get a certain number of questions, but then when the Tournament of Champions starts, you can't get any. We'd have to give Max Ken Jennings level Tournament of Champions questions,
where he's answering questions exclusively about the equivalent of medieval art or deep Old Testament knowledge, like stuff that is just not at the tip of everybody's tongue.
Yes, that is right. So this has gotten me more excited, though, because some of these new faces, like Carson Steele, I loved watching on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him at UCLA.
He's going to be great. And there's a lot of like really strong fits, right? Some of these don't always make sense. Like, he's going there. And then you get the weird stories. Who is the North Carolina, is it Tez?
Yeah, well, he got denied his waiver request. Yeah.
Right. So you have the weirds because he went to a school that didn't end up
North
playing.
Carolina Central.
Yes.
They canceled their season, so he went to Kent State, and then he transferred to North Carolina, and because that's his second transfer, they're like, nah.
Right. So you get like that kind of weirdness, and sometimes when you go to like the portal pages, you're like, yes, this player has left Oklahoma State for question. You're just like, oh, okay, so they're just sort of stuck in the portal. And so you get that.
You don't want to get lost in the transfer. It's sort of like being in the quantum realm.
Correct.
If you're a Marvel person.
Yeah, this is a strong game. It's tough because if you're not paying attention on June 30th, if you're not paying attention on March 18th, if you're not and this is our jobs, but even still, it's the SATs all over again for me.
That's exactly right. It's been fun. We'll probably have to play this again once or twice before the season starts, and we shall see what happens. But when we come back, we bid an early farewell to an AD who's done it and seen it all and announced his retirement on Wednesday. We'll be right back.